Hello guys and welcome here to the Jello Cup Series. This is race number 25, the second to last race of the regular season. Here today from the Daytona International Raceway. Today we present to you the Coke Zero Sugar 400. I am Brian James here up in the booth with you, proud to bring you coverage of the race. Rihanna G will start from the pole today, and to his outside will be Brad Stover in number 5. There's a lot at stake today, being the second to last race of the regular season. And before we get going, we want to show you your playoff picture as it stands through 24 of the 26 regular season races. Dylan Young is still the points leader in the number 2. He's still the points leader, Dylan Young. He's got 16 playoff points as it stands. He's got 1 playoff point for leading the most laps in a race earlier this season. But the big thing is he's only got a small advantage in the points lead, less than 30 points. It is easy to overcome today. The big thing for him is he wants to play defensive. I think, knowing that Darlington is the next race, I believe he is a former Darlington winner though. So that should be in his favor. Then we got, obviously, the guys at the bottom that could benefit from Dylan Young losing the points lead. Brad Stover, Ben Crouch could be the 2 beneficiaries, assuming we don't have a new winner today. And they will, of course, both be battling to lead the most laps. Because keep in mind, 5 playoff points is not solidifying you into the playoffs. We do have one guy who is mathematically eliminated. It is Eric Faden on the number 8. Your all-star winner will not make the playoffs this season for only the second time in his career. And that is a tough break for the number 8 team. But they missed a lot of races early in the season. Chris Smith also missed the race today. He cannot afford to be 88 points back of the cutoff. So he's got to hope that some of these guys have some bad luck today, because next race is a double points race. Obviously Patrick Smith is in danger on this list. These guys with 5 playoff points, there's 3 of them. Of course, you also got to watch Frodemar Ott. He's outside the top 30 with 6 playoff points, or with 6 plus playoff points is what I should say. So if he crawls back in, then Patrick Smith or Nate Faden could lose a spot. However, Tim Randolph is also borderline. Tim Randolph is borderline right now, falling outside of the top 30. That could help everyone's cause. But there's a lot of factors still to be determined. And obviously, a new winner today could throw a wrench into a lot of things. We will see what happens, though, as we'll be right back in just a moment. This is the Jello Cup Series, and this is the Coke Zero 400. Let's roll the intro.
Through turn 4. Does the 24 have enough? It's going to be a drag race to the line. We're going down the front stretch. The 96. Wins the race Daytona.
Ryan Knox is going to win at Watkins Glen. 7. Got this. All right. Ryan got this. Ryan
Here we go. We're getting ready to go green. A few factors we want to keep our eyes on. Obviously, Stacy Stickler, the Daytona 500 winner. Could she sweep the season on this track? That's one factor we got to watch out for. Another factor Could Charles Sanford go back-to-back? Could we have a first-time winner? That could really throw a wrench into this playoff picture. There's a lot at stake here. Only 2 races left in the regular season. As Rihanna G and Brad Stover lead us to the green, the Coke 0400 is underway. As we head off into turn 1, you see Casey Naneko. He's doing his best trying to push that 65 out ahead. Ben Crouch back there laying back. He doesn't want to help the 5, I don't think. Keep in mind, him and the 5 are battling for that 16th and final playoff spot. So, of course, he's not going to want to help too much. Oh, they're door-to-door there. And Brad Stover is shuffled out of line as Casey Naneko goes to the race lead. Watch out, they're pinching each other right now. This couldn't end well. As Casey Naneko leads the opening lap, they're still pinching each other in that middle lane. Someone's going to wreck here. But Charles Sanford goes to the lead with help from Austin Shaw, the teammate of Rihanna G. And that's shocking, because keep in mind, Rihanna G has been up front in the points most of the season. So, of course, him leading and possibly winning this race could help that crew out. And you see they are still 3 wide. This really is not working very well. And they're just very fortunate right now. We haven't had a wreck. But someone's going to get wrecked here as Charles Sanford leads another lap. And it's about a 4-car breakaway. Dylan Young's in this, I guess. As now he's looking for the 4th spot. And here goes Austin Shaw for the race lead. Keep in mind, this race is not the double points race. The next double points race is next race, and it's our final one of the season at Darlington. We'll have that for you tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern on both Facebook and YouTube. But Austin Shaw goes to the race lead. And this is exactly what this 48 team needs right now. They are 30th in the standings. This is not good either for Chris Smith. This could hurt his chances at the playoffs. Dylan Young looks low. He wants to pass Mina Monroe. He's got help from Jeff Scott and Scott Upton. But Austin Shaw hangs on to the lead for the time being. And keep in mind, Dylan Young, this is the kind of place he needs right now. The magic number is 88. He won't reach that. Oh, they wrecked behind. Matt Hussey around in the 24, and it's a big wreck. Oh, Ben Crouch upside down. So is Usman Hamid. And a bunch of others wrecking on the apron. Dylan Ibrahimian, Brad Stover involved. Oh, Alexander Rowe, too. Your most recent winner. That's a tough break for them. Here goes the 37 of Scott Upton looking to lead a lap. And he'll lead him back to the caution. Will the 96 beat the 2 around? Yes. No, he won't. The big one strikes already. Let's go see what happened. I mentioned 3 wide would not work for very long. You see Gene Sanford and Usman Hamid, the 2 teammates, get pinched here. and it hurts the 52 more than the 53. This 52 goes up and over, hits the 14. Just look down on the apron. I believe the pole sitter gets through this, Rihanna G. Dylan Ibrahimian, not so lucky, right into the back of the 14. You see the 19 just flipping wildly. Can't stop flipping. That is a tough break. And Dylan Ibrahimian hit the 52. Tough break for Ben Crouch and for Brad Stover, especially. Both of them still in the playoff hunt. And now that will put a damper on their playoff hopes as we'll take you back to the green. Welcome back. We get ready for the restart. Dylan Ibrahimian, so far the only guy listed out of the race, but expect these guys to join him in just a moment. It'll be Scott Upton, Dylan Young, Charles Sanford, Austin Shaw, Dick Clark, the top 5. Then it's Jeff Scott, Mina Monroe, Nonigan Scott, Stacy Stickler, and then Max Anderson. We're back underway. Keep an eye on this now. Now that things are kind of single file, this should allow for some better racing now. But also keep an eye, because obviously, just like every other race at Daytona and Talladega, the lap traffic could have an impact on the finish of this race. The 11 and the 77 there, Diego Yepes, both sustained some pretty significant damage. They are probably going to fall way back. As up front, Scott Upton, he's another one on the outside looking in. And the more laps he leads, the closer he gets to that playoff point, which could help him get in the playoffs. So these guys are going to want to take the lead away from him pretty quick. Brad Stover's back out. That's not good for these guys. But Brad Stover realizes he realizes how much points are at stake here if he doesn't stay out and try to finish this race. And these guys also got to realize that there's another factor here at Daytona now, being the second to last race in the regular season compared to being the midway point in the season that it usually is. There's a whole new factor to it. And these guys have to understand that these guys are battling for every point they can possibly get. And for Brad Stover, he needs to be on the track, especially if another incident occurs that takes somebody else out of this race. See, the Chevys working pretty well together. Mina Monroe tries to come up and take second. Won't happen. We head for turns 3 and 4, and Scott Upton will continue to lead. See, Brad Stover's up to speed with that lap traffic. Then there's basically a whole second. Is there a whole second pack? A second and third pack, pretty much. Keep in mind we have overtime at our dispense if we need it. And there it is, the full list of guys out of the race. And Alexander Rowe, he's going to go from first to worst. That's a tough break for him in his playoff hunt. Ben Crouch finishes 39th. He's going to have a lot of work to do. Brad Stover's 3 laps down. So if we do get overtime, he will be forced to sit it out. Anyway, we are on lap number 12. It's an 11-car breakaway at the front. Here comes Stacy Stickler trying to overtake the 37 of Scott Upton. And this has got to be what these guys are rooting for. Here goes Stickler for the lead, with help from Nonigan Scott. And I believe she's going to get it. Yeah, Stickler to the lead. For the time being. Dylan Young giving a good push to the 37. Keep in mind, if he wins a race, he is all... If Dylan Young wins this race, he is pretty much guaranteed to be in the playoffs. Because he would have 6 playoff points. He's the points leader. And they're still side by side, not able to get an advantage. They're going to have to figure it out soon because the lap traffic, that group is in like turns 3 and 4, or turns 1 and 2. They're coming up on them. It's a little whiles away, but still, as Stickler goes to the lead. And now the inside line is working. Oh, they shuffle the 15 high. Charles Sanford now looks for second. Keep in mind, Charles Sanford led the most laps at the Coke 600. He is also a win away from solidifying his playoff position. Dick Clark, he's won a race. He's pretty much in. But for Charles Sanford, he'd sure love to go back-to-back in the Daytona night race. And he's going to do everything he can here. With 10 laps to go. And Austin Shaw, he was looking inside of Dick Clark, just couldn't get to the bumper in time. Or else maybe an overheating issue for the 48. We come to 9 to go. It's single file pack racing just about. At the front, you see the 48's pulling out, trying to make a move. And he will do so on the 88. He'll get third. Now he has his sights set on Charles Sanford, the defending winner of this race. And now he'll look to the inside of Sanford. And that 48 is looking strong. Again, I remind you, we head to Darlington next race. The track too tough to tame. Man, that 48's right there. He just needs to make his move. He wants redemption. And Scott Upton moves inside. But keep in mind, Austin Shaw, he finished second. He had a strong car at Pigs Creek and just couldn't find... He didn't get any help to get around the leader. Mohammed Zain Abdullah, he had no help getting around the 17. So obviously he would like a redemption race here. As we come to, let's say 7 to go. And they've caught Kevin McHugh. Now here's where things get dicey. The 37 looking for the lead on the Daytona 500 winner. It won't work out. Stickler uses them as a pick. And goes around. So Stickler hangs on to the lead. The inside lane now trying to get reformed. As keep in mind up ahead, they've got Diego Yepes and Brad Stover, as well as your pole sitter, Rihanna G. And Stickler's going to make easy work of them. And now the 37 of Scott Upton's going to look high. But Diego Yepes, this is not a very veteran-like move, holding up the top lane and the bottom lane. And now the Fords to the inside, they'll benefit. You see Austin Shaw and Charles Sanford basically falling back to the second pack. But this second pack is pretty big. With 5 laps to go, they might be able to mount a run. You see Stickler got around the 65 pretty quickly. And they got a while before their next lap group. Here goes Dylan Young around the 65. And now the 88's going to get blocked. This should allow the Fords a chance now. Of course, 4 laps to go. Do they have enough time to catch Stacy Stickler? And this is something Scott Upton doesn't want to see. Stacy Stickler leading this amount of laps. Because obviously if she gets that playoff point, it means Scott Upton needs to really work hard at Darlington. You see most of the pack has already gotten around the lap traffic. And with a while till the next pack now, the leaders have reformed. 3 to go. 1.6 to the leader. They should be able to catch Stickler. They're going easily 5, 6, 7 miles an hour faster than Stacy Stickler, and they're going to swallow her up pretty quick. Here goes Scott Upton around Dylan Young. And with the whole second pack now, this is not what Dylan Young wants to see. And just like that, 1.6 seconds is gone in a matter of a lap. Here comes the 37, Scott Upton, 2 laps of racing to go. He looks inside, he looks outside. Stickler blocks high, Upton goes low, fakes her out. And Scott Upton to the race lead. Here comes Austin Shaw. And just like that, his chance at redemption is still very much alive. He will now look inside. He's got help from Tim Randolph, of all people. Stickler on the high side. She's about out of this. Austin Shaw, he's got a lap left. This time, 1 lap of racing to go for Austin Shaw. Can the 48 hang on? He moves high. Is he going to be able to go low and block? He does barely. But the 43 moves him up. Here goes Tim Randolph looking for the lead. Down the backstretch, side by side. Does the inside have enough steam? I believe they do. Oh man, through turns 3 and 4, we're going to have ourselves another photo finish. And I believe this time, the 43, Tim Randolph, will win at Daytona. Tim Randolph, by a fender, gets his second career win. Austin Shaw again having to settle for second, as Tim Randolph avoids allowing another first-time winner this season. Great job for the number 43. As mentioned, they were on a cold streak entering this race. They were so close to falling outside of that top 30. That second win may put him back in the picture here, and also it'll probably boost him closer to number 1. Let's go take a look at that finish once again. Welcome back. Let's see if we can get a good angle on this. See there, it's not as close as last year's finish here at Daytona, but Tim Randolph gets the job done. No lap traffic around him. An excellent finish, a clean finish. But Austin Shaw not going to be happy with the result of this one. He comes home second. He needs a win now. He is a former winner at Darlington in the Carvana wildcard, so that could be his chance. But Tim Randolph, by just a fender, it's, I believe, the second closest finish now in Daytona history, behind last year's Coke 0400 finish. But anyway, we want to thank you for watching. Here come your results and your standings. We got one more regular season race, and we'll see you there for the Southern 500 tomorrow night. Till then, goodbye, everyone.